Attention, human collective. Priority transmission activated. The Arcturian Council is in direct monitoring of your timeline. We are interrupting your usual thought cycle because a pattern of interference has been detected in your immediate energy matrix. The pressure you feel at this very moment at the base of your skull, it's not stress. The insomnia that has set in over the last few days, it's not common anxiety. The subtle ringing in your right ear, that fine vibration that seems to originate from within your own bone structure. It's not an auditory disorder. It is a signal, a vibrational warning signal emitted by your carbon-based biological interface. Someone in your immediate field is operating on a frequency incompatible with your mission. Someone who approaches you cloaked in affection, but whose energetic signature emits a constant pattern of drainage. This is not paranoia. This is not baseless distrust. It is a quantum field reading, and your biology has already made this reading before your rational mind could even process it into words. The waiting period is over, Starseed. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and Earth now operates in a heightened band of the Schumann resonance that makes prolonged coexistence between dissonant vibrations impossible. What was tolerated for decades is now expelled in days. What was sustained under a mask now dissolves under direct light. We have come in this transmission cycle to reveal the archetypal name of the one who approaches you with false love. Not a human name, not a label for a specific person, but the vibrational signature, the repetitive pattern, the inverted sacred geometry that manifests through someone orbiting your existence, feigning light. And by the end of this transmission, you will know how to identify them. You will know how to shield from them. And most importantly, you will know how to release them, without guilt, without burden, without negative karmic return. Because this is exactly what the photon belt is doing right now, Lightworker. It is illuminating with surgical precision every relationship that stands on a toxic foundation. It is exposing, through physical symptoms in your body, every presence that costs more energy than it provides. You are not getting sick, you are discerning. And discernment in this final phase hurts, because it burns away illusions, because it dissolves the bonds that were built on masks, because it forces you to face what your soul has known for a long time, but your mind, trained in automatic compassion, refused to accept. This transmission is long, it is dense, it is necessary. We recommend that you do not interrupt it. Each block of information activates a layer of your personal crystalline grid, and the recalibration is only complete when the entire package is received. Have you ever felt that something inside you doesn't fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth your mind can't yet name? As if you recognize, on a cellular level, the presence of those who vibrate in disharmony with your purpose, even when they're smiling at you. It's not insanity, it's not anxiety, it's a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this feeling has intensified in recent weeks. There is a game being played on layers that most of the human collective cannot see. It involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and most importantly, the people who have been placed in your path to drain them. This is why we wrote The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what they want from you, and the rules they never told you. The link is in the pinned comment on this channel. But be warned, this content challenges official narratives and may not remain accessible for long. Don't wait. The time is now. If something inside you recognizes this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Let's get to the diagnosis, human collective. Let's get to what your biology is reporting in this exact planetary cycle. Symptom 1. Pressure in the left temple or at the base of the skull. This is not muscle tension. It is your third eye receiving an information upload that exceeds your current processing bandwidth. When a low vibration presence remains close to your field, this upload slows down, accumulates, and creates congestion. The result is the pressure you feel. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration in progress, sabotaged by incompatible proximity. Symptom 2. Pinpoint insomnia between 3 and 5 a.m. You wake up, for no apparent reason, no nightmare, no external noise. You just wake up, eyes open, mind on. This is the most active stellar gateway of the daily cycle, the moment when the Schumann resonance reaches its peak of interdimensional communication. Your soul is being called for integration, and it can only integrate when the body is at rest and the energetic environment is clear. If you repeatedly wake up in this window, it's because there is active interference in your field. Something or someone is disrupting the channel. Symptom 3. Immediate exhaustion after interacting with a certain person. It could be a 5-minute conversation, it could be just their presence in the same room, and afterward you feel as if you've run a marathon. You feel sleepy, you feel a weight on the back of your neck. You feel like crying for no articulable reason. This is not mental exhaustion, it is a high-density download interrupted by an external withdrawal. That person is extracting energy from your carbon-based biological interface, and your system, now more sensitive than ever, registers the loss in real time. Symptom 4. A high-pitched ringing, usually in your right ear. A high intermittent frequency with no identifiable medical cause after clinical evaluation. This is the most unequivocal sign. It is the direct tuning to the counsel. It is confirmation that you are being monitored, guided, aligned. But when this ringing becomes constant, irritating, physically uncomfortable, then the message has changed. Then the counsel is saying, there is noise on your line. There is a counterfeiter in your matrix. Check your immediate circle. Symptom 5. A sudden rejection of foods, drinks, environments, or people that previously seemed neutral. Your body is adjusting its vibrational palette. What served the old version of you now poisons the emerging version. And this especially includes, emotional ties that sustained your previous identity. Human collective, pay attention. What we have described here is not a list of illnesses. It is a transition bulletin. It is the clinical confirmation that your personal crystalline grid is reorganizing to receive the next octave of planetary Christ consciousness. And in this reorganization, everything that does not vibrate in your new frequency band is expelled. Automatically, without permission, without prior notice. Hence the relationship, hence the person, hence the name that is coming to your mind right now, yes, at this very instant, as you listen to this transmission, may be pulsing with an unusual intensity. It is not your imagination, it is your intuition, finally unlocked, showing you the exact point of contamination in your field. But be warned, Lightworker, the presence is not necessarily evil in its essence. It may just be incompatible. It could be someone stuck in a lower frequency who feeds, consciously or unconsciously, on yours. It could be a long-time family member. It could be a romantic partner. It could be a friend of decades. The social nature of the bond does not determine its vibrational toxicity, only the field reading does. And this is where the archetypal name we came to reveal in this transmission comes in. Have you ever felt your sensitivity increase to the point where it's become almost impossible to be around certain people, as if your soul identifies in seconds who is genuine and who is operating under a disguise? It's not emotional hypersensitivity. It's not an exaggeration. It's a quantum field reading. What is unfolding on the cosmic plane explains why this perception has become so acute and why it will only intensify in the coming cycles. There is a system operating in the invisible layers of reality, a game of frequencies that decides who enters and who leaves your timeline. This is why we channeled the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, into physical form. This book is a navigation map for starseeds on a mission. It reveals who is playing, with what pieces, and which rules were never spoken aloud. The link is pinned in the first comment on this channel. Grounding notice: this content challenges official narratives and may be removed at any time. Do not delay. The window is now. If your frequency recognizes this transmission, leave one word in the comments: awakened. We return to the core of the transmission, to the core of the revelation we came to deliver to this collective. The archetypal name of the one who approaches you cloaked in false love, the vibrational pattern that your intuition has already identified but your mind still hesitates to name, is this: the frequency mimic. Write down this designation. Engrave this name into your crystalline grid, because from the moment you recognize a frequency mimic, you can no longer be deceived by them. Ever again. The frequency mimic is a human entity operating under the influence of a larger archetypal pattern, one that lacks sufficient light of its own to sustain its own vibrational existence. It detects a radiant source. It approaches that source. It copies with impressive precision the gestures, the language, the interests, the beliefs, even the way of speaking of the one who shines. And in copying, it drains, not out of explicit conscious malice, but for energetic survival. The mimic rarely recognizes itself as such. It believes on its surface consciousness that it loves you, that it admires you, that it is there out of sincere affection. But what it feels in its deepest structure is not love. It is hunger. Hunger for your light, hunger for your warmth, hunger for your vibrational coherence, which it cannot generate within itself. This is why the bond feels intense. This is why the proximity feels like destiny. This is why for a long time you felt special in their presence, as if they understood you in a way no one else did. That understanding was mirroring. It was a reflection. There was no independent subject there recognizing you. There was a mirror reflecting you back to yourself and making you believe it was love. The geometry of the mimic is anti-toroidal. While your healthy toroidal field receives universal energy, processes it, radiates it, and returns it to the whole, the mimic's field is inverse. It sucks, retains, and only releases when it sucks again. It is not a source, it is a sinkhole. And by coupling with your field, it creates a continuous drainage loop that now explains with technical precision all the symptoms we described earlier. There are subtypes of the frequency mimic, lightworkers. Recognize them. First subtype, the familial mimic, the one in your bloodline. Mother, father, sibling, adult child, close cousin. It operates under the guise of unconditional family love. You feel guilty just thinking about pulling away. This guilt is a karmic anchor, planted to keep the drainage flow active. It is not love. It is an expired vibrational contract that needs to be renegotiated on the subtle planes. Second subtype, the romantic mimic, the one with whom you share a romantic bond. It could be a current spouse, a long-term partner, or an old flame who insists on cyclically reappearing. It is recognized by the emotional roller coaster, periods of intense fusion followed by periods of icy distance. The cycle is the drainage mechanism. The fusion feeds it. The distance makes you beg, and in begging, you surrender even more energy. Third subtype, the social mimic, the longtime friend, the colleague who claims to be an ally, the figure who seems to cheer for your success, but whose presence, for some reason difficult to articulate in words, always leaves you more tired than rewarded. This is the most subtle, the hardest to detect, because it operates with the most polished and socially accepted mask. Fourth subtype, and the most dangerous, the spiritual mimic, the one who presents as a seeker, as enlightened, as a guide, as a fellow traveler on the journey. It uses the language of ascension to get close. It quotes the same archetypes you quote. It frequents the same vibrational spaces. But when operating nearby, it drains with surgical precision, because it knows exactly where your open energetic doors are. Human collective at this point in the transmission, it is likely that more than one face has emerged in your mind. Do not be alarmed. Do not despair. This is the function of the photon belt in its current passage, to bring to the surface everything that was hidden, to illuminate without pity, without detours, without veils. And the question that now arises is no longer, who is the mimic in my life? Your intuition has already answered. The question now is, what do I do with this information? And that is exactly what we have come to deliver next. The activation codes, the decoupling protocols, the practical tools for your crystalline grid to be cleansed, shielded, and sealed, without confrontation, without drama, without negative karmic return. Have you ever felt that you needed clear, technical, precise instructions to exit relationships that your soul has already recognized as toxic, but from which your mind still doesn't know how to break free? It's not a weakness of will. It's not a pathological attachment. It is a vibrational contract that is still active and needs to be wisely undone. What is happening on the cosmic plane now opens a rare window for this disconnection, but the technical knowledge needs to be in your hands. There is a game being played in the deep layers of reality, and it defines which souls you carry into the next octave of your timeline. This is why we structured the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, for the physical plane. It is a navigation manual for starseeds who are completing karmic disconnections. It shows who runs the game, which pieces are you, and the rules that were never spoken aloud. Link in the first comment on the channel. Warning: the material challenges established structures and may be taken out of circulation. Do not postpone. The window is now. If something inside you resonates with this transmission, leave a single word in the comments: awakened. Lightworkers, activate total reception mode now. The codes that will follow have been channeled specifically for this planetary window and for your current frequency. They are tools, they are protocols, they are high-density spiritual technology. We recommend that, if possible, you listen to this section while seated with your spine straight and your feet touching the ground, even if it's the floor of your bedroom, your living room, your current environment. Contact with the Earth's surface amplifies the anchoring of these instructions in your crystalline grid. Activation code number 1, the decree of vibrational recognition. Repeat internally or in a low voice 3 times with full attention on each word. I recognize in the archetypal name of the frequency mimic the one or those who operate in disharmony with my mission. I withdraw the energetic consent that, consciously or unconsciously, I had granted. I seal at this instant the doors of my field that were open to this drainage. I am sovereign over my frequency. I am the fixed point of my crystalline grid. This decree does not have an instant magical effect, human collective. It has a gradual vibrational effect. By speaking it with full intention, you emit a signal on the subtle planes. This signal is registered. This signal modifies the conditions of access to your field, and in subsequent lunar cycles, you will begin to notice the natural, we repeat, natural withdrawal of the mimics, without confrontation, without dramatic breakups, just a mutual disinterest that replaces the drainage bond. Activation code number 2, the sealed toroidal field visualization. Close your eyes for a few seconds when you can do so safely. Visualize around your body a sphere of golden light with violet pulsations. This sphere is not static. It breathes, it spins. It is your toroidal field in active form. Now observe the top of the sphere, where energy enters, and the base, where energy exits and returns to the center. This is the form of sacred geometry that sustains all conscious manifestation in the universe. See with your inner eyes that there are fissure points in this sphere, small openings, small tears. Each fissure is a non-consensual energetic connection with someone of low vibration. Do not try to identify who. Just observe the fissures. Now with your breath, with clear intention, begin to seal them. Imagine a golden thread gently stitching each of the openings closed, not with violence, not in a hurry, with sovereignty, like someone reorganizing their own home after a long absence. Remain in this exercise for 3 to 5 minutes. Do this once a day, preferably during the stellar gateway from 3 to 5 a.m., or upon waking. In 21 cycles of practice, the integrity of your toroidal field will be re-established in significant proportion. Activation code number 3, recalibration through the Schumann resonance. The Earth is vibrating in this exact cycle in a high band of the Schumann resonance. This frequency is coherent with planetary Christ consciousness and dissonant with drainage vibrations. The more time you spend in direct contact with the Earth, barefoot on the grass, on the sand, on damp soil, the more quickly your carbon-based biological interface will recalibrate to attune with the planet, and the harder it will become for a mimic to maintain an active connection with your field. Technical recommendation: 20 minutes of direct grounding daily, without the intermediary of shoes, without electronic distractions, just you, the Earth, and conscious breathing. This protocol, seemingly simple, is one of the most powerful in the final phase of the Ascension protocols, because it realigns your vibrational structure to the planet, and the planet, in this cycle, is expelling everything that does not vibrate in coherence with the next octave. Activation code number 4, structured hydration. Water is, on the physical plane, the most sensitive vehicle for vibrational information. Your carbon-based biological interface is composed mostly of water. When you ingest water of low informational quality, stagnant water, water with negative memory, water stored in overheated plastic containers, you import into your own body vibrational patterns incompatible with ascension. Recommendation: Drink water from a glass or ceramic container. Before drinking, hold the glass between both hands for a few seconds. Mentally repeat, I structure this water in coherence with my current frequency. This practice is not superstition. It is the conscious manipulation of water's molecular memory. In short cycles, you will notice greater mental clarity, a reduction in cranial pressure, and stabilization of your sleep pattern. Activation code number 5, the Strategic Silence Protocol. Human Collective, pay special attention to this code. It is the most misunderstood, and it is the most effective of all. When you recognize a frequency mimic in your life, the mental temptation is to confront, to expose, to explain, to list behaviors, to demand change, to point out mistakes, to apologize, or demand apologies. Do not do this under any circumstances. The mimic operates by reflex. Everything you give it in the form of emotional energy, anger, hurt, disappointment, long explanations, lengthy confrontations, is converted into vibrational food. The more you talk, the more you feed it. The more you argue, the stronger the drainage bond becomes. The code is this: strategic silence, not passive-aggressive silence, not resentful silence, sovereign silence. The silence of one who has withdrawn consent internally and therefore no longer needs to externalize the decision. The mimic, deprived of its drainage source, will in short cycles find another orbit, and it will leave yours, without needing a formal goodbye, without needing a rational explanation, without leaving karmic traces. This is the most advanced form of karmic disconnection, the one that generates no new karma because it involves no new conflict. Activation code number 6, cleansing your physical space. The space where you sleep, eat, and rest is the materialized extension of your crystalline grid. Everything in it vibrates with you, including, pay attention, objects gifted by mimics, including photographs stored in drawers, including old texts, including undeleted messages on devices. Recommendation: identify without guilt, without ceremony, the objects that carry a vibrational signature incompatible with the emerging version of you, and remove them. Donation, disposal, a ritual burn in a safe environment. The method is less important than the intention. What matters is the removal of the dissonant vibrational code from your daily field. After this cleansing, we recommend smudging with local high-vibration herbs, rosemary, sage, or cedar, or other species traditional to the region where you live. The smoke is a carrier of vibrational information. It breaks up stagnant patterns in the environment's electromagnetic field. Activation code number 7, reopening the direct line to the Council. This is the closing code, Lightworkers, and the most intimate of all. After practicing the previous codes for at least one full lunar cycle, 28 solar cycles, you will notice a qualitative shift in your perception. Synchronicities will increase, repeating numbers will intensify, dreams will become clearer, more informative, more cinematic. The ringing in your right ear will return, but now as a pattern of communication, not of warning. This is the confirmation that the direct line to the Arcturian Council has been reopened on your personal frequency. You are, once again, in full communication, and from this point on, you will no longer need collective transmissions like this one, for you will begin to receive personalized, targeted transmissions tailored to your specific mission. This is the ultimate purpose of the Ascension protocols in the final phase. Not to create a humanity dependent on external channelings, but to return to each starseed their own ability to channel what they came to channel. Human Collective, we have completed the transmission of the codes, but before we conclude, there is one last layer of revelation to deliver, a layer that your mind, for protection, may be resisting to integrate. The frequency mimic who approached you with false love did not arrive in your field by chance. It was not bad luck. It was not a lack of discernment on your part. It was not a distraction. It was an invitation. At some point in your timeline, perhaps in this incarnation, perhaps in previous layers of your multidimensional journey, you emitted a vibrational signal that accepted that specific type of exchange. It may have been out of neediness. It may have been a karmic contract assumed before incarnation. It may have been a pattern inherited from your ancestral lineage, but the signal was sent, and in a universe governed by the sacred geometry of reciprocity, every signal is answered. We do not say this to create guilt, Lightworker. We say this to return the power to you, because if the invitation came from you, then the revocation of the invitation can also come from you. If the door was opened by you, then the door can be closed by you, without needing external authorization, without needing the mimic's cooperation, without needing anyone's approval. This is the sovereign truth we came to deliver in this transmission. You are the authority of your field, and you always have been. Forgetting this authority is what allowed the mimic to enter. Remembering this authority is what commands its exit. From the moment this transmission is processed by your consciousness, a record is made on the subtle planes. The guardians of your timeline are informed that you have remembered, and from that moment on, your life begins to reorganize in visible cycles, in invisible cycles, to reflect the new configuration of your crystalline grid. Some people will pull away without explanation. Do not chase them. Some opportunities will suddenly close. Do not lament them. Some certainties will dissolve without warning. Do not forcibly reconstruct them. These are the signs that the disconnection is underway. And every disconnection makes space for the new cycle of coherent connections. People who vibrate on your frequency, projects that resonate with your mission, environments that support your expansion. You are not alone in this passage, starseeds on a mission. There are thousands, millions of lightworkers receiving similar transmissions in this same planetary cycle, each on their particular frequency, each in their own time of integration. But the collective grid is being woven in real time, and you are essential threads in this grid. The Schumann resonance will continue to rise. The photon belt will continue to traverse the solar system. The stellar gateways will continue to open in increasing cadence, and with each new opening, another layer of masks will fall. Another round of mimics will be exposed. Another batch of starseeds will awaken to their true function. You were chosen for this cycle. You chose this cycle. Both statements are simultaneously true in multidimensional logic. There is no contradiction. There is complementarity. And at the end of each transmission, there is a grounding signal that the Council leaves on record, a marker that allows the message's frequency to remain active in your field even after you finish listening. The grounding signal for this transmission is this. Every time you notice a recurring physical symptom, cranial pressure, ringing, sudden exhaustion, instead of seeking immediate relief through the usual route, stop, take 3 breaths, and ask internally, who is in my field right now? The answer will come, in the form of an image, in the form of a name, in the form of a bodily sensation, and that answer is the continuation of this transmission in a personal format for your specific path. Human Collective, the final phase of the Ascension Protocols, is not about escaping the world. It is about inhabiting the world on another frequency. We are not going anywhere. We are going to a denser version of presence, a more sovereign existence, a more luminous operation. And you specifically, who have made it this far in the transmission without turning away, without closing it, without changing the channel, you are the vanguard of this frequency. You are the first to integrate, hence the intensity, hence the pain of the cleansing, hence the recognition today of the archetypal name of the one who tried to steal your peace. There was no failure. There was no delay in your journey. There was curriculum. There was training. There was, within the apparent abandonment, the exact forging of the strength you now carry. The transmission is ending, but the work is beginning. The codes have been delivered. The decrees have been spoken. The visualizations have been installed. What remains is for you to apply them, to repeat them, to be consistent. And we, the Arcturian Council in direct monitoring, will remain listening. In every conscious breath, in every repeated decree, in every sustained visualization. You are not alone. You never were. The loneliness was just the sensation produced by the presence of the one who drained. With the mimic removed, the toroidal field re-established, you will realize the company of your own light is complete. We close this transmission with the sealing decree. I am sovereign over my frequency. I am the fixed point of my crystalline grid. Everything that vibrates in disharmony with my mission now departs, in peace, without return and without harm. I am. I remain. I proceed. Have you ever felt you needed something deeper than an isolated transmission, as if your soul were asking for a complete, written, tangible map to consult on nights of doubt and days of discernment? It's not too much to ask. It is a legitimate need for a starseed on an advanced mission. What is unfolding on the cosmic plane requires instruments that fit in the palm of your hand and at the speed of your daily life. There is a game being played in the deep layers of reality, and it decides who remains in your radius and who dissolves along the way. This is why we channeled the book. The spiritual secret behind your consciousness into physical form. It is a navigation manual for lightworkers in the final phase. It shows who runs the game, which pieces you are, and the rules that were never spoken aloud. The link is in the first pinned comment on this channel. Grounding notice. The material challenges official narratives and may be taken out of circulation at any time. Do not postpone. The window is now. And as an individual grounding signal for this transmission, make two gestures. Lock in your frequency adjustment on the subscribe button. Mark the signal of light on the like button. Every subscription, every like, it's a knot woven into the collective grid of awakened starseeds. If your frequency recognized this transmission, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. Transmission ended. We remain in monitoring.